Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're over on the pay to win account and we're going to do a breakdown of a faction. So a lot of players had a lot of questions about the Maulers faction. I'm going to go ahead and break them down kind of how I see them. And this is kind of my own opinion on the Maulers, kind of where I see them placed. This is no tier list. This is no campaign. This is no push through the Mauler tower. This is essentially where I find the heroes. So ultimately we start with Sophia. Sophia is a hero that brings a lot to the team, which is a reason why a lot of players do go ahead and choose her. Ultimately, I like building her to a plus 30 because of the Scatterbolt ability. Once she gets to a certain amount of attack rating, Scatterbolt will be used instead of normal attack, meaning the Scatterbolt does stun and it breaks off to hit other heroes. So a major advantage with her. Her furniture is not needed, guys. You do not need 3 of 9 is okay. 9 of 9 is definitely a complete overkill, but you don't need her to be effective with her furniture. So essentially the plus 20 on her will be good as far as the signature item. No furniture, you will get her by working very well. Second hero we look at is Titus. Titus, again, his 3 of 9 furniture is very good. Essentially 3 of 9 is what you want to go. 9 of 9 is kind of an overkill unless you're really getting him to push. Same with Titus. His plus 20 is really strong. You have to have Titus's plus 20 signature item because of the reduces 70% of all damage received. This is the only way, guys, that Titus is going to live when you're pushing him in the tower. Ultimately, this is the only way that he is going to live, is with that plus 30 or the plus 20 signature item, excuse me. And then of course his 3 of 9 furniture really is beneficial. As we look at Nemitsu is a hero that needs his plus 10. That is right, guys. He only needs the plus 10 to go ahead and get that rejuvenating totem down. The plus 20, plus 30 doesn't really make that big of a difference with the totems. Essentially, as you get further in the campaign and get more of a level gap, same with the Mauler tower, they will kill the totems in one hit, kind of regardless of what they are. Same with his furniture. You don't need any of his furniture in here. It can help a little bit with the healing, but then again, it's not very substantial. So ultimately, he doesn't need his furniture. Nemitsu, you just need a plus 10 signature item. But overall, again, looking at the Mauler faction, he provides haste to other heroes, and he is a very big distraction to the enemy team because they will turn around and they will focus on those totems to kill out those totems first. Next one we look at is in my opinion, the key to the Mauler faction, which is Scrag, guys. 3 of 9 is good. 9 of 9 furniture is absolutely amazing. He is probably one of the heroes you definitely want to prioritize for the Maulers, 9 of 9. And he only needs that plus 20 signature item. Plus 30, again, not really a very big requirement. If you look at the plus 30, only requires 200 energy to activate the first time, meaning that after he uses it the first time, you can't use it again. So it does kind of stink. And he is one of 2 tanks that have mitigation. So he has actually damage reduction right there built into the hero. It is hard baked into him. And then when you look at his furniture with his 3 of 9 and his 9 of 9, absolutely amazing when it comes to the Scrag invade, when it comes to him being on the enemy side. This is the key really to the Mauler tower, to running him in formations. His 9 of 9 is so super powerful. It is insanely powerful. That is why so many players run him with a bunch of different team comps, is because if you're pushing to the enemy side of the battlefield, that is absolutely huge. Which brings us to Drez. Drez is a hero, again, needs a plus 20. Ultimately for a signature item, gets a little bit of a buff with his plus 30, gets a 200% more value on a shield. But essentially, the plus 20 will work because he can use this ability to shield himself for 600% of his attack rating 4 times per battle. So definitely worth getting him to the plus 20. Ultimately, in the end, if you're looking for straight up damage, the attack boost with the 3 of 9 is good. The 9 of 9 is pretty strong. It does increase the duration a little bit, but most of the time, neither of these are really needed. If you're going to go ahead and build him for the tower, 3 of 9, again, is good. 9 of 9 on priority lists or really focusing on him, I would go ahead and just stay with that 3 of 9 to get him some attack speed in there with his ability. So very good to see. And again, the plus 20 is really all you need with Drez. Brings us to Kren. This is the ideal build with Kren. He's a relatively new hero. The plus 20, you want the 2-second stun. That is right, guys. Normal attacks are enhanced. After using 2 normal attacks, he will stun, so you definitely want his plus 20. Plus 30, honestly, is a little bit of an overkill, not really a necessity. And for his furniture, you're looking at 3 of 9 for the furniture, just to go ahead and increase the AoE of the Enshrouding Bomb, and also reducing haste, which again is very powerful. 9 of 9 on him. An additional smoke bomb is thrown in the most congested area. Not really a priority for his 9 of 9. 3 of 9 does help quite a bit because this is a big haste debuff, especially again built into the Mauler team where you're going to stack heroes together. Ultimately, that is what you want to have, is his 3 of 9 build. Looking at Scrag, the Wise One, or the Kingpin, ultimately, you do not need his signature item. If you have a signature item, it can provide a little bit more damage, but essentially, Scrag is only in formations for one thing and one thing alone, and that is his 3 of 9 furniture, guys. The beginning of battle, enemies at the top and the bottom are pushed together, so you can literally clump up the entire group of heroes, which is going to allow Scrag to push them back, which is going to allow Scrag to go on the enemy side, doing very, very well. Again, you can build up his signature item a little bit. He really doesn't pull too much damage, but even having his signature item at a +0, or just literally having it unlocked, he will do incredibly well because of the crowd control aspect, which is the reason he was introduced to the Maulers. He was one of the only heroes that have dedicated crowd control, which helps a lot when it comes to the Mauler tower. Looking at Warwick, Warwick is there for one ability only, including the Twisted Realm boss fights, which is Bonebreaker. So he'll actually go ahead and use, maybe it's Cardinal Rage. It's the one who reduces now I'm drawing a blank, reduces the defense of the heroes, which I believe it was this one, damage thrown enemies receive right there. So 3 of 9. So that was right there. Level 4, thrown enemies receive 80% more damage for 10 seconds. That is right, guys, an 80% buff. I thought it was the Bonebreaker ability, which it is. This is the only thing that Warwick is used for if you use him in the campaign, if you use him in stages. Ultimately, even if you use him within the Mauler tower, he gets destroyed. He gets absolutely destroyed. It is very, very hard. On my Mauler account, I have him completely built, still gets absolutely just run over, even if he is given time to scale. But that is what you want, and that is what we utilize when it comes to the bosses. Signature item the same, doesn't need a signature item. You're only using him for that one ability. Similar to Scrag, which honestly, they could do a lot more with these heroes because of their abilities. Then we look at Verk. Verk does a considerable amount of damage. The drawback to Verk is Verk's ultimate ability can be interrupted. So he does get locked out of that ultimate ability a lot of times. Ultimately, right here, the Mania, if you are going to build Verk, the +30 signature item with him, very, very strong to fire 5 crossbolts instead of 3 crossbolts. Furniture, Verk does not need. This could help situationally, but ultimately there's no reason to build Verk's furniture. You have a long list of heroes that are long before Verk and can bring a lot more to the team than Verk can, especially with his traps. Then we get into Satrano. So Satrano is more of a niche hero. So she has the ability, when she is completely built, she requires her signature item built, she requires her furniture built, at least her 3 of 9 furniture, but ultimately she can negate healing, which is one of the very few heroes that can negate healing. Meaning if you're going up against Almas, if you're going up against Nomura, if you're going up against Taylene, she can mitigate the healing they're going to do, allowing you to actually run the teams over very, very quickly, which again, her signature item works very well because this helps with her survivability. Ultimately, because she is a mage, she is a frontline hero. So she goes directly into the enemy side. And also again, with her furniture, 3 of 9 is good. 9 of 9, not a requirement because of the damage she puts out, and the healing reduction is really what you're looking for. But when you look at some of the other heroes, like next one we look at is Entendre. So Entendre, I feel, is one of the most underrated Mauler heroes. If you have her signature item built, if you have her furniture built, definitely a plus 30 signature item, definitely with her furniture being up to a 9 of 9. She can destroy backline heroes literally in a second. She can run the Mauler tower by herself. She is so powerful. When you look at her knocking heroes back, keeping them in the backline, coupled with the synergy that other heroes bring, she can destroy heroes, and she also gets a big attack rating boost, as well as an energy boost, as well as immune to crowd control abilities. If there's a Mauler that I would highly, definitely recommend building, even if you're just using her for the Mauler tower, it is Entendre, guys. She can absolutely run the Mauler tower by herself. Some of the other heroes, K-Sauce. Unfortunately, K-Sauce has never really found a place, even after his rework. There are a lot of other heroes to use in the Mauler tower. He is not utilized in any formations that I know. The big reason for this is Rabid Thirst. So Life Leech is an ability that takes a certain percentage of the damage you do, gives it back to you. Big problem we find with Life Leech is if you have Life Leech and a target is shielded. So let's say you have K-Sauce versus Lucius. Lucius has up a shield. K-Sauce gets 0 back Life Leech because there is no damage to the actual hero, meaning that this skill is completely useless, as well as all of the Life Leech that we see for different Mauler heroes overall. Brutus is a hero you don't have to build. Ultimately, people use him leveled without a signature item, without his furniture, and they are using him essentially 1 for the roar and then 2 for the invincibility. So even if he is at Elite Plus and I have him at level 400 Elite Plus, they want the Brutus immunity for 8 seconds, which is really all that you need to go ahead and buy your team 8 seconds of pure damage being pumped into Brutus, ultimately allowing the rest of your heroes to scale, your heroes to get totems down, your heroes to get CC down. Ultimately, he is used even late game and end game. A lot of players are using Brutus for this 8-second immunity, even not having him built, which it's kind of a cheese, I guess. Kind of a strong strategy because, again, you buy that first 8 seconds of him taking damage, totally immune, especially in a team with, let's say, Lucy. So if he takes a big burst damage in the middle, he dies after his 8 seconds, which he will, especially if you're running him at Elite Plus. Lucy will get that giant buff that she gets with her plus 30 signature item. Brutus, you bought the 8 seconds of burst, allowing Lucy to go ahead and build up some damage. Last one we look at is Enoki. Essentially, Enoki brings a lot to the team. The problem with Enoki is he is not strong enough to really do anything. He doesn't have a damage mitigation, even being a tank. He will die in a matter of 2 seconds when it comes to the tower. When it comes to the campaign, you cannot get him to live, even going backline, even having him fully decked out on the Mauler account. He dies super fast. In theory, his skills are really good where he pushes back enemies. 9 times out of 10, I never get to see his ultimate ability because he is dead long before then. He needs some sort of damage mitigation. Even having furniture on him doesn't really make that big of a difference because essentially he is dead. The shields are not strong enough to keep him alive or strong enough to keep the team alive. There are far better choices when it comes to the Maulers. So honestly, guys, looking at the Maulers as a complete faction, Scrag, very strong. I would probably put him as the top Mauler in there. Scrag, definitely a big priority, followed by ultimately Sophia. Sophia, for the reason that she brings so much to the team. She brings the Spectral Disruption. She brings stuns with the Scatterbolt. She brings a significant amount to the team, followed by Titus. Titus is a hero that provides crowd control. Between Scrag and Titus, Sophia being in a strong team, they have really solid synergy. Couple that with having Entendre completely decked out, maxed out, then either running Skorath to crowd them all together or running Nemitsu for the totems. Very strong combination. But ultimately, guys, the Maulers do need a little bit of a rework. I'm not sure if it's with the Life Leech ability. Looking at the Scrag Invade team, that's really the only team you find any Maulers on. Every now and then you'll see Nemitsu in a team. You'll see Titus in a team. Sometimes Sophia. Scrag pops up more than anyone. But when you look in their entirety, I don't see any teams with Drez. I don't see any teams with Verk. I don't see Warwick. I really don't see Entendre, K-Sauce, Brutus. We don't see Enoki. I don't see many with Kren. Satrano, they run in a couple teams, but ultimately a majority of the Maulers are not used. And guys, the reason I make this video is we have been pushing the Mauler tower floor 387. So I really need to develop Entendre. That way we can push through the Brutus Citadel very, very solidly. But ultimately, guys, a lot of players don't use the Maulers, which is why I just wanted to cover them really quick. As a faction, they seem to have a little bit of synergy together. There are a couple that are utilized kind of here and there. But when you look at a lot of the core factions, they need more support. Honestly, overall, to run through the Brutus Citadel, the only choice that you have, the one and only, of course, is Nemitsu out of the faction. So ultimately, they need a little bit more there. Even with the tanks that they have, not really too heavy. And then, of course, with the casters, we have one that is primarily just the crowd control, which is Scrag. Then we have Sophia. So adding in a couple more Maulers, I would love to see a little less agility heroes, maybe some more casters, maybe even reworking a couple of the heroes. So guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think of the Maulers. That's kind of an overview just of the faction. We'll cover the other faction shortly just because I know a lot of newer players to AFK Arena have a lot of questions. Which heroes should I build out of the factions? Honestly, here, I would go Scrag, I would go Sophia, I would go Titus. They would be the first three main ones, just because Titus provides a control ability as well as a significant damage. If you're looking for just straight up tower, build Entendre, guys. She will be the one to destroy the tower almost single-handedly. She is that strong. So guys, again, let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.